Today, I'm going to try to beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum with only Flying-type Pokemon. Now, we all know Platinum is a top-tier Pokemon game, but I gotta be honest, the Flying-type is kinda slept on, especially in this gen. People tend to just think of the standard early route flying Pokemon, but there are some very interesting heavy hitters out there and some underrated Pokemon too, a few of which are definitely among today's potential encounters. Because it tends to be overpowered in the early game, we're going to ban Gyarados. And unfortunately, since it's only available via Wi-Fi events, we won't be able to use Rotom's fam form, but we still have some awesome Pokemon available to us. Let's see if we can beat Pokemon Platinum with only the first flying type that we find on each route, no items in battle, level caps in place, and the battle mode on set at all times. And for a flying themed video, what better partner to work with than today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends, a pretty fly game that's available right now for mobile and PC, and which is one of my favorite things to play during my downtime, with wicked strategy, hundreds of champions to play as, and amazing item combinations that takes what I love about Pokemon to the next level. To the new players from the US, Raid has prepared something special for you, the Champions Elect event, where you can vote for your favorite starter champion. Download Raid from the links below, copy your in-game player ID, then go to championselect.plarium.com. Simply enter your player ID and then vote for your chosen champion. The event runs until February 10th, and entrants have the opportunity to win awesome in-game and real-life prizes, like epic and legendary champions, in-game items, and even Amazon gift cards up to $1,000. On February 10th, one champion will be crowned the winner, and prize winners will be selected through a draw. Existing Raid players, we've got you covered too. At the same link, you'll find a special promo code that everyone can use for a small in-game gift. For the new year, there's also a fresh Raid update featuring a new season of the Forge Pass, the Plarium Points program to earn in-game goodies including a legendary champion, and a whole bunch of new champions coming this month as well. Plus, the Raid 4th year anniversary Titan event, a new type of event lasting several weeks which will see you earning anniversary points by competing in special themed events with some amazing rewards. New players, use my link or scan the QR code right here and get a free starter pack with this cool in-game loot. And if you've been living under a rock, you may not know that MMA and pro wrestling megastar Ronda Rousey has smashed into the world of Raid with her very own champion. Get Ronda by simply logging into Raid for 7 days before February 20th. That's it. Use promo code RAIDRONDA to get a bunch of useful in-game items to help level her up. All the goodies will go straight to your inbox. Alright, Mr. Rowan, what have you got for me? You know, I think I'd be a lot more excited about the Pokemon world and my whole upcoming adventure if you showed me like a Rhyperior or something. Buneary just doesn't do it for me, I gotta be honest. Being interrupted by Barry in our room, Hey, wait, Barry, no, don't! Don't you know by now? You never touch another man's computer. Now, one of the cooler things about the so-called third version games is noting the improvements made from the originals. For instance, here they thought, what could we do to make Twinleaf Town even better? I know. What if a snowman just pissed everywhere? Alright, enough fooling around, it's time to pick our starter. Although none of them get the flying type, I'm gonna choose Chimchar, as both it and Turtwig are weak to flying, so giving Barry Piplup seems like the greatest challenge. Very well, both of you have chosen a good Pokemon, it seems. Wait a minute, are you implying that Turtwig wouldn't have been a good choice? Blasphemy. Rowan then goes to leave with no problem, and Dawn follows him, and despite being a smaller person, says, "I'm sorry, please let me pass." Bruh, nobody is stopping you. Outside of the lab, we get gifted something that I think should be miraculous for our first encounter, the Return TM, which will go up to 102 power at max friendship. Speaking of friendship, the girl who hates us then gives us Pokeballs, meaning our run has officially begun. Luckily, we get our first viable encounter right here on Route 201, none other than a Starly, which I catch and nickname Woody. Woody ends up having a jolly nature, which gives plus speed stats and minus special attack. Are you kidding me? That's perfect! Let's go! Not only that, but we can get speed and attack EVs nearby using other Starly and Shinx too. In no time, we arrive in Jubilife City, the wannabe goldenrod of Sinnoh, and oh, would you look at that? They really got the whole downtown city feel down with this guy stalking us from behind the lampposts. Now, I always mix these two, but in the trainer school, if you battle these kids, they give you a gift, and in this supposedly upgraded version, it's a potion, whereas in Diamond and Pearl, they give you hidden power. Hidden power alone makes other runs like Electric possible that are impossible in Platinum. Okay, so this dude wants me to find 3 clowns scattered throughout the city, but why would I go anywhere? I can see all 3 of you from here. Alright, getting the old rod actually makes me a bit nervous about passing up on a Magikarp. I hope I don't regret banning Gyarados. But we don't have to fret too much as we can get a new encounter up on Route 204, Wurmple, which is actually only available before the first gym in Platinum, making this run possible in this game, but likely not in Diamond and Pearl. I catch it and nickname him Heimlich, and he has a docile, neutral nature. Not bad. Problem is, we don't know if this thing will evolve into a Dustox or a Beautifly. And because it doesn't have the flying type yet, we have to switch train it and hope for the best, as we can't actually use it in battle. A little while later, and it turns out the RNG gods blessed us as Heimlich evolves into a Silcoon. Whew. There's no rest for the wicked though, as Barry challenges us to battle up ahead. Now, I was a bit worried about this battle only having Starly to battle with, and his Starly started using Growl on us too. Not good. Our wing attack did over half before he growled again, but thankfully our next hit does enough to take him down. In comes Piplup though, and with -2 attack, I'm not liking this, but I realized, since I'm not attacking with it, I can technically switch Heimlich in for the XP, then switch Woody back in to get rid of the attack drops. I kid you not, his Piplup just kept using Growl from there repeatedly, so it didn't end up being much of a threat in the end. Up ahead we get to the Oreburgh gate, which holds our next encounter in fact, this time a Zubat, which I catch and nickname Throb. Okay, Woody, Heimlich, and Throb. Yeah, I promise our nickname theme is not what you're thinking, it's just a coincidence that will be rectified soon. Throb has a hasty nature, plus speed and minus defense, not bad, although I sincerely don't think a future Crobat needs more speed. Before the next city, Heimlich ends up evolving at level 10 into a, dare I say, beautiful Beautifly. And you might have wondered, how the hell is Soph gonna beat a rock gym with this team? Well, this thing's the answer as it learns Absorb upon evolution. With that, Oreburgh City is upon us, the location of the first gym. Luckily, we can head back to this route to battle some Badoo for some special attack EVs at least, as I think we're gonna need them. During the process, we have another awesome evolution as Woody evolves into a Staravia, which of course gets the Intimidate ability too. Golden. Oreburgh Gym, let's do this. The leader here is Rourke, a rock-type expert, and yep, not a fun matchup for our team, but I think I have a plan. He leads with a Geodude, so I send in Heimlich. A Pokemon 4 times weak to rock, mind you. Geodude has really high attack, so I just go for Absorb, which is 4 times super effective and decimates him in one hit. A good start. In comes Onix next, and although it's fast and defensive, it doesn't have very good attack at all. I go for Absorb, and it just barely doesn't take it out. Ouch. But he just goes for Stealth Rock. Interesting. Now, I was considering going for Harden here, knowing that he'll potion, but I decide against it, not wanting to risk the crit, and I know I can outspeed and take him down in 2 more attacks. However, in comes his final Pokemon, his ace, Cranidos, with a sky-high 125 attack stat. And that's as an unevolved Pokemon. Fortunately, it doesn't have a rock move though, so I hit it with Absorb for only a quarter or so before Headbutt does a third to us. Not looking good, but don't forget we do get recovery from our attacks. We hit him again for a good range, then he hits Headbutt to below half. A final attack should do it, but he survives on literally 1 HP, hits a headbutt that I wasn't anticipating having to take, but we survive on 4 HP and can snatch that last health point from him to win the battle and our first badge. Holy, that was close. Thankfully, even a rock throw from Onix wouldn't have taken us out, so I think we were reasonably safe there until the end at least. After rescuing Dawn and Rowan, this dude gives us a fashion case, and you know, there's something awfully backhanded about giving me a fashion case after suggesting that I make an appearance on TV. What are you trying to say, Mr. Overalls? Okay, not only did we get the Stealth Rock TM from Rourke, but up ahead we could get the Rock Tomb TM too. Rock types sure do have it good in the early game. Wish I could say the same for us. Floroma Town is our next destination, and here we can finally grab some Oran berries. Hey, what are you two doing? Oh, nothing, just hanging out. Finally, we get something good here, as in one of the houses, this girl gives us the Pluck TM. I can finally fix this situation. In the meadow, we save this guy's life from Team Galactic, and he proceeds to advertise his honey to us. Talk about upselling. But we have no choice, as the honey trees actually offer us a few possible encounters, although they are brutal to work with. So anyway, as I was saying, apparently there are these thugs bullying people into shaving their unibrows nearby, and oh no you don't! Get back here, you unibrow stealing son of a b****! Now we have a difficult battle up ahead, Commander Mars. Her Ugly is insane this early on, but I think I have a bit of a plan and it's kinda crazy. I end up leveling Throb up all the way to the level cap of 22, just so that he evolves into a Golbat. This is a bit risky as we won't be able to use him for a while after the battle, but I don't think we'll need him as much as we need him now. Mars leads with a Zubat, and we can assert dominance with its evolution, and this is fantastic. Not only can our Zubat not use Toxic on us, but we take it down in one wing attack. Then, because of Inner Focus, Throb doesn't even flinch from Ugly's Fake Out, meaning we can smash it with a wing attack to half while taking little damage. To get the range, I go for Bite, just hoping for the flinch, but we don't get it, although Scratch ends up doing very little and another wing attack does the job. Ha, that was just evil. Hey, wait a minute. Now unfortunately, our next encounter only appears on Friday in the Valley Windworks, so we'll have to wait a bit to grab it. It's kind of funny, there are 4 encounters that we could get right now technically, but we either need it to be Friday, nighttime, or have good honey tree luck. At the end of Eterna Forest, our unsolicited partner Cheryl gives us the Soothe Bell, actually fantastic as we will have a few friendship evolutions to do later on. With that, we arrive in Eterna City where the next gym is. But before that, berry picking. Wait, why am I only getting 1 Oreburgh here? What a ripoff! I can clearly see 2 on the damn trees! The Eterna City gym is a funny one this time around as it's a grass type gym and, well, Woody goes to town on all the plants in here with wing attack not even getting touched throughout. But I've learned not to underestimate the gym leader herself, Gardenia. Regardless, we do have what I imagine is a perfect counter, Throb. She leads with a Turtwig, and we have to watch for this thing using Reflect, so I'm desperately hoping for the one-hit KO, and we get it with Wing Attack. What power! In comes Cherubi next, and it actually survives one, but just goes for Safeguard so we can end its hopes and dreams with another. In comes the biggest threat though, Roserade. I hit it with Wing Attack, but it just barely doesn't KO. Then it goes for Stun Spore, but it misses. Well, I had attached a Cherry Berry anyway, so we couldn't have gotten paralyzed, meaning this was inevitable. A flawless victory for Throb. A much better matchup than the last gym, I'll say that much. Ooh, those badges be glistening, baby. Much brighter than my future. With Cut now usable, we can grab a Great TM, Thief to get type boosting items off wild Pokemon. Now, this would have been great, but both flying type boosting items are basically only available in the post-game. Why? At the top of the Galactic building stands an even more frightening Galactic commander, Jupiter. It took me a while to try and think of how to account for her Skuntank with stab, high crit ratio, Night Slash, but let's hope this ridiculous plan works. She leads with a Zubat as I send out Heimlich. I paralyze her off the bat with Stun Spore, and then she does hit a wing attack and slams us below half immediately. Not great, but expected. I know we can survive these, so I go for Morning Sun to heal, hoping she'll stay paralyzed one turn, and she does, so I can then use Harden to raise her defense a couple times. I repeat this process until we're at full health, at which point I can then use Gust twice to take her down with us at 2/3. In comes the monster though, Skuntank. It goes for Night Slash, and thankfully no crit, so I do what I knew would be necessary, paralyze it. Here, I then make the switch into Woody for the Intimidate, although if it crits, that won't matter. But it does lower the damage from non-crits at least. Thankfully, she just used Screech though, so I switch into Throb here, and she remains paralyzed. Yes! I then use Confuse Ray, so it's confused, paralyzed, and intimidated. Then I hit it with Wing Attack, and we get a crit, although its berry does activate. She keeps either getting paralyzed or hitting herself in confusion, so a couple more bring her to just a sliver. Then she breaks through for a Night Slash, but no crit, so a final attack takes her down. Man oh man, the amount of planning we had to do, and that still wasn't a guarantee. What a nasty battle. With that out of the way, we then run into everyone's favorite Pokemon, yes, Pokemon, Cynthia, who gives us an egg, and this thing actually contains our next viable encounter. Running around the city like a madman causes it to eventually hatch, giving us none other than a Togepi. I name him Elliot, and he has a quiet plus special attack and minus speed nature. Half good, half bad. And just in time, we've officially seen 35 Pokemon so we can grab the XP share from the southern gate. This, combined with the Soothe Bell, should be great for leveling up and subsequently evolving him. Before that though, we now have access to Route 206, and our next encounter can be found here only in Platinum. A Gligar. And no, it's not shiny. Platinum's sprite is just really weird comparatively. I catch it and nickname her Marina, and Marina has a naughty nature plus attack and minus special defense. Not bad, and having a part ground type is fantastic for a flying team. Route 206 isn't done delivering the goods yet though, as not only is there another honey tree here, but also a great item, the poison barb to raise Throb's poison moves. And also, the Wayward Cave secret entrance. Again, only in Platinum you can access the basement without needing strength, and traveling through the twists and turns has us reach the final room for a ridiculous early game TM, Earthquake, which Gligar can learn right away. Unreal. Up ahead in Mount Coronet, our next encounter is a genocidal maniac in a dark cave. Heartome City is upon us, and wandering around, I found this dude who says that he spent 30 years in complete seclusion in the mountains. I'm no psychologist, but doesn't that qualify you as being clinically insane? Heading to Amity Square, I wanted to pick up some good items, and the lady says that only cute Pokemon are allowed and won't let us in. Are you really gonna try and tell me that a friggin' Togepi doesn't count as being cute? You're out of your damn mind! In preparation for the next gym, some hard training had to be done, and during the process, we actually had 2 friendship evolutions. Guess these guys love pain, as Throb evolves into a monster Crobat, giving us some more power and speed, and Elliot also evolves, giving us a Togetic that we can actually use now. Let's go! After picking up the Taunt TM on Route 211, which I think might come in handy as I teach it to Throb, we can enter the Heartome Gym. Now it's all dark and scary in here, with us having to use a light to scare the ghosts off who would gladly eat our flesh. Call it a fleshlight. Anyway, it's time for the 3rd gym leader, Fantina, and she is brutal to deal with 9 times out of 10. But for once, I think we might have a decent strat to work with. She leads with a Duskull, and I send out Throb. Now, I know she usually tries to burn you, so I outspeed her and hit her with Taunt, and it works as now she can't do so. From there, I can hit her a few times with Bite after she potioned to take her down, with her only landing a crit Shadow Sneak and a Future Sight attack which hits us post-mortem. In comes a huge threat, Miss Magius next, and knowing it has Psybeam, I switch into Elliot, but she went for Confuse Ray. Not good. She then hits one on the next turn, but Elliot eats it surprisingly well, but we do hit ourselves in confusion. Another round of this and we snap out of confusion and finally land the yawn that I wanted. Trying to stall until she's asleep, I stay in and get hit below half before our berry, then I went for Metronome, feeling risky, and we get Roar of Time of all things. Incredible. Thankfully it wasn't like self-destruct or something. With her now at half and asleep, it's the perfect opportunity to switch into Throb, who takes her down in a single bite from that range. In comes her final Pokemon, Haunter, and there's just no hope for her as we can outspeed with Taunt so she can't use Hypnosis, usually a terrible thing to deal with against her, and 2 bites do the job from there for our 3rd badge. Probably the smoothest battle we've ever had with her if I'm honest. Friday. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday, meaning we can grab our new encounter at the Valley Windworks, Drifloon, which I catch and nickname Hindena, and who has a calm plus special defense and minus attack nature. Pretty good. But because it's nighttime, we can also go back and pick up yet another encounter, this time a Hoot Hoot, who I name Hedwig and who has a lonely plus attack and minus defense nature. Not great for it, and we already have 2 normal flying types, so I'm gonna box her for now. In no time, Hindena reaches level 28 and evolves into a beastly Drifblim. Quite an underrated tank in my eyes. Before leaving Heartome, we have another battle with Barry, and his team is powered up quite a bit, but I think we have a good option to face him with. He leads with an Intimidate Staravia now, so I lead with Hindena so the attack drop doesn't really matter. I can then use Stockpile to raise our defenses, then hit a Gust through his annoying double teaming, and we hit a second one too to take him down instantly. That's what you get for using weak strats. In comes Prinplup next, and Gust does a quarter before Bubble Beam doesn't do much at all before the boost. We keep slugging it back and forth here, and Hindena eventually emerges victorious, although she did drop our speed with one of her attacks, so we got brought below half even after our berry. Next up is Ponyta, and he kept using Ember on us as Gust did over half, and I was like, you know, it would be terrible if he burned a Hindenburg namesake, and I was relieved that he didn't, but then we barely don't KO on a Sliver, and he hits another one and burns us. Oh god, that is just terrible. From there, Roselia comes in, and I give Heartome a break by switching in Throb, who is the perfect counter, nailing him with a swift wing attack to end the battle. Mourning for the Hindenburg victims, we hit up the Lost Tower, and we get another return TM in here before then hitting up another creepy place, the Salacion Ruins. Yeah, this is what I imagine my friend sees when he's trying to communicate with women. Sorry for outing you in front of hundreds of thousands of people, Tim. Getting the perfect flying TM from this generous lady, Roost, then leads us to Route 215, where Platinum has another cool surprise for us, a new encounter, Scyther, which I catch and nickname Mr. Ping. Mr. Ping has a calm plus special defense and minus attack nature. Bleh. But it is a cool encounter, although it loses its flying type upon evolving, so he'll have to stay like this. Veilstone City is always nostalgic for me, and so is holding up the department store line while I buy infinite reflect and light screen TMs, which Togetic can make use of. Don't ask questions. Visiting the massage lady, Oh, only Pokemon? Not me? Aww. The Game Corner comes in clutch as ever in this game with some great TMs like Swords Dance and Thunderbolt, but for now, I'm gonna grab a Silk Scarf and Metronome item as they should be useful. Now for once, Game Freak didn't block off the next route after the city, so on Route 214 we can grab a miraculous item, the Razor Fang. That's right, if we attach this on Marina and level her up at night, she evolves into a beastly Gliscor. Such a cool Pokemon that I've never really gotten to use in-game before, so I'm excited to try her out. The Veilstone gym is up next, a fighting type gym, and as I'm sure you can imagine, the trainers themselves were quite handily beaten. I decided to go with Woody throughout, being able to intimidate the first mon out and then attach the metronome so every consecutive aerial ace grows in power, which kinda went up proportionately with their increasing levels. Too good. The fourth gym leader is Maylene, the fighting type expert, and although this may look easy on the face of it, don't forget that her Lucario is not weak to flying. Regardless, we have a secret weapon, Marina, as we decimate her Monotype lead in one hit with Earthquake after it just used Fake Out. Holy! In comes Machoke, which survives one with a quarter left, then hits a Rock Tomb to drop our speed. Regardless, we still outspeed on the next turn and take her out, after which in comes her ace, Lucario. With a ground type move on a flying Pokemon, there was just no hope for her, as she merely hit a Metal Claw before we shattered planet Earth itself and had her fan favorite Pokemon devoured by the depths of hell. Okay. Too much? Well, not only did we get a great evolution and win a badge, but we also get the Fly HM right nearby.
Oh, baby, a triple!
Oh, what am I to do? I've gone and dropped my sweet key again. The hotel people won't be happy with me. Up ahead on Route 213 comes an encounter that should actually be very helpful, and it might not be obvious immediately why, but if you think about it, a part water-type Wingull helps with our severe ice weakness, only getting hit neutrally by it, and offensively helps out against rock types. I name him Donald, and he has a plus speed and minus defense nature. Not bad. Next stop, Pastoria City, the next gym destination. While training up for it, we have a wicked evolution as our starter finally fully evolves as Woody becomes a Staraptor, which I have been eagerly awaiting as it learns close combat too. Pastoria brings us something else amazing though, the Move Relearner. We get a great haul here as Togetic learns Magical Leaf, Crobat learns Cross Poison, and Gliscor can learn the Elemental Fang moves, as I give her Thunder Fang for now. Oh, and we can also pick up the Toxic TM nearby, which should be great for Throb. Before the gym, we have a battle with Barry, and, well, let's just see what a fully evolved Woody can do. But of course, he leads with Intimidate, so just to add insult to injury, I led with Marina, who has Hyper Cutter and cancels it out. Savage. Then I switch into Woody to get our Intimidate, and in case you're thinking her double teams could cause a problem, nope. We've got Aerial Ace after all, which can't miss, and we take him down in 2 hits. From there, Ponyta got slammed into oblivion with a 102 power stab return. Prinplup survived one and landed a Bubble Beam on us, which did a surprising amount of damage on us, but another attack finished the job, and finally, Roselia, well, sorry kiddo. Now that went smoothly. It's time for the Pastoria Gym, a water one which is kind of tricky for us type-wise, but now's the time for Elliot to finally shine, as not only do we have Magical Leaf, but I also taught him the Shockwave TM too, so he's able to obliterate the trainers with ease. The 5th gym leader is Wake, the water type specialist, and his team is actually quite terrifying at this point in the game, but with our newfound type coverage, I was feeling pretty okay about it. He leads with an Intimidate Gyarados of all things, and I send out Hindena to start. I have a wicked plan here. I repeatedly stockpile to raise our defenses as Bite starts to do less and less to us. Then after 2 I was like, I don't want to risk a crit, so I'll baton pass those boosts to Elliot, who is now nearly invincible. Bite followed by Waterfall brings us to 2/3, then with 4 times super effective Shockwave, we somehow don't KO. Then on the next turn he preemptively switches out of nowhere. I got played, not gonna lie. However, we can then just 4 times damage Magical Leaf that thing into the Netherworld. In comes Floatzel next, and with increased defenses, I'm not too worried about Ice Fang, which doesn't do much after our berry. Then Shockwave brings him below half before his. He then hits another, and gets a critical hit out of nowhere, instantly taking Elliot down. No way. That was a perfect counter strategy for him. A crit was the only thing that could have ruined it. From there though, I could at least send out Woody for the Intimidate on him and then a return, and surprisingly it does enough. Whew. Gyarados then comes in and returns the favor by lowering our attack, but a few returns do the job after he Hyper Potions, with us getting hit hard by a Waterfall in the process. That was a brutal loss of a Pokemon. I was looking forward to having a Togekiss, those things are really good. But, using my Professor X powers, I summon Barry to tell Wake that there's a bomb, then convince Wake to run towards it. Dark, I know, but Elliot must be avenged. Donald the Wingull, welcome to the team. On Route 210, we run into Cynthia again, who, when talking about Celestic Town, says, "You can't miss it." Oh, great, easy navigation. Then I suddenly run into heavy fog and can't see shit. Thanks, Cynthia. Well, at least this route nets us another encounter, as in the grass we can find a Swablu. Pretty cool. Which I catch and nickname Mordecai, and who has a hardy neutral nature. Perfect for what I have in mind for it later. Initially I had boxed him, but in the town I found a Dragon Fang, and you know what? I'm gonna take that as a sign, as I replace Heimlich with Mordecai for now. He deserves a rest anyway. A bit of training later and Mordecai evolves into an Altaria, definitely giving us some much needed bulk on the team. In the ruins we encounter Edgelord Cyrus again, and this time he challenges us to battle. He leads with a terrifying Pokemon for our team, a Sneasel of all things, but with a plus speed nature and Intimidate, I was feeling pretty good about Woody. And that feeling was not unfounded, as a 4 times super effective close combat devastates him. Golbat was then an easy switch into Throb, again asserting evolutionary dominance, as Fly annihilates him in 2 attacks. His final Pokemon is Murkrow, which is actually incredibly powerful with Drill Peck, so to be safe I switched in Woody for the Intimidate again and returned the life out of him in 1 hit. Solid. For winning, Cynthia's grandma awards us with her love. I mean the Surf HM. Great for our future Pelipper, but I'm waiting until Wingull learns Air Slash to evolve in. With Surf in hand, we can now reach the other side of Route 218 for another encounter, this time a Pokemon that I don't think I've ever really used before. Except to maybe scream profanities into my DS back in 2007 using his Chatter move, which I catch and nickname Tweety, and who I leave in the PC for now. What can I say? The poor dude lives on Twitter anyway. Canalave City is next, and upon entering the city, this guy says, "What's up? Your clothes look damp. Maybe you took the boat to Iron Island?" No, actually, I'm just sweating profusely because I murdered a bird and the police are after me. Big Boy Barry challenges us yet again here, and his team is kind of ridiculous now, but I have an insane plan. Taking the Intimidate with no problem, I had sent out Hindena against his fully evolved Staraptor and loaded up 3 full stockpiles before baton passing to Gliscor. After teaching her Aerial Ace via TM, the double teams that happened aren't a danger, and I also Swords Dance. With ridiculous defenses and attack, I can then smash through his entire team after Staraptor with either super effective Aerial Ace or Earthquake, which, I'm not gonna lie, felt pretty darn good. Especially given that I didn't know how I was going to account for his Empoleon otherwise. That was a really fun strat though. Hitting up Iron Island to quickly get the Strength HM, Riley offers us a stay in his cave, and I think not. The only thing we needed from there was the Shiny Stone to evolve Togetic, but the Canalave Gym is up next, and with steel-resisting flying, you'd imagine this might be trouble, but let's just see about that. The 6th gym leader is Byron, and again he leads with a Magneton, a brutal threat for most of our team except Marina. Yup, I can Swords Dance freely, and I even attached a Rostberry just in case this Magneton got to burn with Tri-Attack, which was the only possible threat here. Then I Earthquake the living hell out of both it and his Steelix, as neither of them have Sturdy. What does have Sturdy though is his ace, Bastiodon, so I just hit him with Thunderfang to break it, but then, instead of opting for the potential crit with Stone Edge, he goes for Iron Defense.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So, a final hit wins us the 6th badge. Marina, you savage. At Lake Verity, Mars is harassing our girlfriend, so we have to pop in and cause some problems for her. Essentially what I did here was lead with Hindena against her Golbat, and knowing we have crazy bulk and that she had a Bronzor, which is very hard for us to handle type-wise, I just spammed Ominous Wind like crazy, hoping for the Omni boost, but we never got it, although it did allow us to take both of them down. Then in comes Purugly, a massive threat, but we do have Woody with Intimidate to lower her attack power, and also bait her into wasting a Feint attack as we just had a Ghost type out. But she went for Hypnosis, and as it turned out, even through her lowered attack, this created a ridiculous problem. As you guys can see, this was a ridiculous slugfest with us repeatedly getting put to sleep on multiple occasions and on multiple Pokemon, as we kept having to switch out and get outsped by the damn thing, but eventually, after a 6-minute battle against 3 Pokemon, Marina saved the day with a final Earthquake. Sheesh. To power up said Earthquake, I also found the Soft Sand in Mount Coronet and the Light Clay item too. Would have been great to extend the duration of Reflect and Light Screen on a Togetic. Picking up the Never Melt Ice gives us a taste of what's to come. The perilous Snow Roots of Sinnoh. What the... Maylene? What are you doing here? I came all the way over here to tell you you're a little bitch. Bye! What the f... Snowpoint City, we've arrived. And I'm feeling quite scared at the moment. An Ice-type gym is quite a frightening prospect for us, but at least against the gym trainers I could send out Woody, and with the Fist Plate attached, close combat all the Pokemon like a crazy person. The gym leader though, Candace, well, that's another story entirely. Or is it? Her team is insane, and as you might have noticed, yup, we've got Hoot Hoot on the team for this battle. Trust me, there's a reason for this. She leads with a Sneasel of all things, so I send out Woody for the Intimidate and KO with Close Combat, although she did hit a priority Ice Shard first. A good start. In comes a bulkier threat, Abomasnow, which starts the Hail, but my calcs were correct as Fist Plate Close Combat not only does enough to one-hit KO it, but also her subsequent Piloswine too. Incredible power. But there's a problem. As in comes her final Pokemon, Frostlass, a part Ghost type which we cannot close combat nor return. So, yup, nothing can take a 100% accuracy Blizzard to the face, and I have to sack something, which is why I brought Hedwig the Hoot Hoot along. Sorry little friend. Sorry Harry. From here, we have a possible answer as I send out Hindena, but she double teams, and I realized, oh god, this thing has Snow Cloak too, as we miss. Then, she double teams again, making her nearly impossible to hit. She will not stop using it either, and I'm desperately hoping we can hit her, and we eventually do land one Shadow Ball, but it barely doesn't KO in the red before her berry. The hail is hurting, but I think we should survive a blizzard as she lands one, and we survive on just 17 HP before our berry. But we need to hit this next Shadow Ball, and we miss. Oh god, why? Forced into a corner here, I need to try and safely switch something in that can survive and outspeed it, and the only option is Throb. We get hit, and we survive in the red, and survive the hail on 6 HP, but we then miss Bite, and our beloved Throb goes down. Why? Why must life be this way? I have nothing I can switch in here safely with a ridiculous evasion, so I just send out Woody, hoping and praying we can land a damn fly of all things. And we do, finally taking that demonic thing down and giving us the badge. I never want to see a Frostlass again, ever. Well, to replace Throb, we're gonna go with Tweety the Chatot. Kinda ridiculous, I know, but I think I have an idea for it. Okay, straight up, this is the best line in the franchise, right here. Now, with the exception of maybe like the stadiums in the Galar region, I think this might be the most characters featured on screen at a single moment. It's like an ocean of idiots. Up next, we have the Galactic HQ battle with Cyrus, and as scary as his team looks, we now have a new secret weapon in store, the almighty Tweety. Before the battle, I maxed out his EVs like crazy, leveled him very close to the level cap already, and also got the choice specs item. As a consequence, he can now even outspeed Sneasel and one-hit KO it with a stab choice specs 90 power Hyper Voice. His Crobat of course did outspeed us with Poison Fang, but we ate it pretty well and Hyper Voice brought it all the way to the red. After he Hyper Potioned, we brought him again to a sliver before another Poison Fang brought us low, but we could then take him out. In comes his now fully evolved Honchkrow, and to play it safe, I switch into Woody for the Intimidate, get hit by a weakened Dropek, and then hit him below half with Return before his Berry heals him and he hits us again. We won't do quite enough to KO here, so I switch into Marina, who tanks Feint Attack, hits an Aerial Ace to bring him to a quarter, then Nightshade brings us low, and our next attack barely doesn't KO on like 1 HP, so he hits us again to just 17 HP before we can finally take that damn thing out. Whew. Now, in case you're thinking I forgot about our Honey Tree encounters, I didn't, it's just that they're failing us hard right now as we keep getting things like Wurmple and Cherubi instead. But we do have one final encounter area, the Great Marsh. I tried to go to the area where Yanma was more common, but we ended up getting a Tropius instead. You know what? I'll take Lord Neck Bananas. I name him Timber, and he has a bashful neutral nature. After finally learning Air Slash, we can also evolve Donald into a Pelipper and teach him Surf for some great coverage. A long journey brings us atop Mount Coronet at the Spear Pillar, and here we had to battle the commanders in a double battle with Barry. Long story short, I set up Donald with Agility, Roost, and Surf with the Metronome item attached, so it was a crazy struggle, but disregarding Barry's many Pokemon deaths, it actually worked quite well, being able to increase our speed, then use Roost to stall out their light screen, then hit both Pokemon at the same time with a steadily increasing power move. Donald ended up taking out both Bronzors, a Golbat, and Purugly all by himself before I then switched into Marina to handle the Skuntank and Golbat with half health remaining in the end. After Edgelord Cyrus goes nuts, effectively summoning 6 legendaries to the top of the mountain, including one quite unexpected one, we meet him for the last time in the Distortion world. Leading with his Houndoom, Marina was the obvious choice, being able to outspeed even it with a devastating Earthquake KO. But in comes a monstrous threat, Weavile. My only choice here is to switch in Woody for the Intimidate, hoping that we don't get crit, and we don't thankfully, surviving Ice Punch on less than half. This whole run depends on if my calcs were correct here, and they were, as our plus speed nature saves the day and we nail it with a close combat. In comes Gyarados next with Intimidate, so I switch into Hindena at this point, but Ice Fang nails us with a crit to the red in one shot. Holy, I did not plan for that, as I just have to go for Thunderbolt here after our Berry, but even at 4 times damage, it doesn't KO and Hindena gets taken down. Why? Thankfully, Aftermath at least takes it down as well. Hindena, you certainly didn't go down without a fight, but that crit was devastating. Donald then duked it out with Honchkrow for a bit, becoming the victor with one last Surf, then in came Crobat. Here I switched back into Marina, who survived 2 turns of Toxic and an Air Slash to take him down with Thunderfang on just 30 HP, as Toxic damage thankfully stops once the last Pokemon is taken out. Oh, that was a wild one. Now, I had planned to use Tweety the Legend to take out Giratina, but he actually got the Omni Boost from Ancient Power. Then later in the battle against Donald, he got a second Omni Boost from Ominous Wind. A double Omni Boost Giratina? Yeah, hell no. I'm throwing my Master Ball at that thing, that's it. With Hindena gone, I decide to add Tropius to our team, thinking that grass coverage will be useful. When asked to describe the Sunyshore gym in one word, this man says, shockingly electric. Genius. Now, I don't think I need to say much about the Sunyshore gym, do I? Thanks to our speed investment, Marina absolutely ran through Volkner's entire team with Stab super effective Earthquake, devastating each and every Pokemon without a hitch to win us our 8th badge. Words can't describe how good those blowouts feel. You know, something occurred to me while talking to Jasmine here. It feels like it was ages between when we first saw her in Gold and Silver to Diamond and Pearl, but for Europe, it was technically only 4 years from the release of Gold and Silver to the Japanese release of Diamond and Pearl, when many likely would have heard about this appearance online. It's kind of funny. The last route is a water stretch where you can technically find Mantike, but catching a Remoraid to evolve it would technically be against the rules, and we already have a Pelipper, so sorry little buddy. It's time for the perilous trek through Victory Road itself, and unfortunately there aren't any really useful items for us in here this time. A long journey brings us to our final destination, the Pokemon League. Before the Elite Four though, we have one final battle with Barry, and for this battle, I essentially leveled up Marina and Woody like crazy since the level cap is way higher than his levels, and went to town after taking the Intimidate and using Ice Fang to bring him in range of Woody. Then when Woody came in, I could slam his Staraptor with Return, then Heracross with 4 times damage Fly, Rapidash with a massive power Brave Bird, Snorlax with a mighty close combat, Roserade with Brave Bird as well, bringing us to just 41 HP from recoil, then could outspeed and destroy his fully evolved Empoleon with close combat too. Woody, you absolute legend. After fulfilling the rest of our EVs and getting any remaining items and TMs that we need, it's time for the Sinnoh Elite Four. The first Elite Four member is Aaron, the Bug Expert. I spent a while trying to figure out what to do about him, as although we have a type advantage, he does have a Scizor and Drapion which aren't weak to flying. In the end, I think I found a good plan. I led with Marina and used Stab super effective Aerial Ace a couple times against Yanmega to take it down, knowing that all he really had was Double Team, which doesn't affect Aerial Ace. This is the only way we could have taken on Drapion safely too, as Earthquake could demolish him with ease. Scizor was then a 4 times super effective hit with Fire Fang, which I had retaught her. Heracross then went down to a 4 times damage Aerial Ace as well, and finally his Vespiquen had no hope at all as we took it down in 2 hits. Now that was some versatility. The second Elite Four member is Bertha, the Ground Expert, and on the face of it, her team is terrifying for us, but this is where our type coverage comes in. She leads with a Whiscash, one of the sole reasons I brought on Timber, as 4 times super effective Giga Drain was the only way we could one-hit KO it. From here, her Gliscor came out as I switched in Donald, our only way to handle Ice Fang. But she then outsped with 4 times super effective Thunder Fang, but we survived it on 14 HP and could nail it with a Surf one-hit KO. Holy, that was close. Then, since none of her remaining Pokemon have Sturdy, we could outspeed and one-hit KO all of them with a wide lens boosted Stab super effective Surf, not getting damaged by the Sandstorm in the end since we ended the battle just before it hit. Let's go. The third Elite Four member is Flint, the Fire Expert, and, well, he's a friend of Vulcaners, right? So let's deal with him in the exact same way. That's right, Marina's able to outspeed and one-hit KO each and every one of his Pokemon with Stab super effective 100 power Earthquake, boosted by Soft Sand too. There was never a chance he might pose a threat at all. Poor guy. To be honest, he's probably better off using his almost no fire types team from Diamond and Pearl at this rate. The last Elite Four member is Lucian, the Psychic Expert, and the trainer I spent the most time theory crafting for, as his team is a mess for us. Eventually though, the answer came to me. We can finally put Mordecai to use. He leads with Mr. Mime, and I go for Dragon Dance right away as he uses Reflect. I knew he would do so, and I'm taking advantage of it, as I can Dragon Dance quite freely and stall out Reflect with Roost when necessary, eventually smashing him with the Dragon Claw after 4 boosts. I gotta say, it feels very weird taking down a future Fairy type with a Dragon move. From there, his Gallade and Espeon were both easily taken down with the Dragon Claw outspeed as well, and in comes the big problem, Bronzong. But I had taught Mordecai Flamethrower for this reason, as it does just less than half unfortunately, but gets the burn. Yes! Oh man, this not only weakens his Gyro Ball attacks, but also just gives us the range in the end to take him down. Whew. We would have had to switch otherwise, which would not have been good for his final Pokemon, Alakazam, but the speed boosts allow us to wreck him for the win. I gotta say, that was an unreal debut performance. It's time. The final battle, the champion of the Sinnoh region, Cynthia. It took me a long time to plan for this battle with her crazily diverse and powerful team, but without any further ado, let's go for it. She leads with her Spiritomb, which has no weaknesses, so I sent out Donald. Surf does just over half, and then she hits a Dark Pulse for a third. I hit her again, but somehow we just barely don't KO it on a sliver, so she hits us again before full restoring. Oh, not fair. Knowing my plan, I don't have a choice but to follow it, so I hit her twice more, and thankfully we get the range this time for the KO with just 27 HP left. In comes Togekiss next, and well, I wasn't expecting to be this low on health, but I hit her hard with Ice Beam before Shockwave destroys us with ease. Let's be real, Donald wasn't gonna outspeed anything else anyway. Here I send in Tweety next, who can revenge kill with the Hyper Voice KO. In comes Lucario next, who resists it, but we have a perfect counter here. Marina, who resists most of what she have and can tank Stone Edge well before slamming her with Earthquake for the KO. But in comes one of the biggest threats, Milotic. I know she'll likely go for Ice Beam, so I switch into another Pokemon with a 4x weakness to it. Looks dumb, I know, but she actually went for Surf instead. I knew there might be a chance that she does that, but I wasn't quite expecting it. But then, she outspeeds on the next turn with Ice Beam, but I had attached a Yachi Berry so it weakens the damage, then we can hit her hard with Giga Drain, but it does surprisingly little. Oof. Not good, as now I have no choice but to let Timber go. You did well, my banana friend. With Milotic seemingly in range now, I send out Gliscor and go for the Earthquake, and it turns out we didn't have to worry after all, as Earthquake gets a critical hit. Unbelievable. Then, as I was hoping, we baited in the Garchomp. I hit it hard with 4x super effective Ice Fang, but it actually tanks it well after its berry, but the best that she has against us is Dragon Rush, and we survive on 61 HP and slam it again to take her down. Her last hope is then Roserade, and just for good measure, I switch into our starter Pokemon, Woody, and unleash an unholy fury of devastation in the form of Stab super effective 120 power Brave Bird to end the battle, and become the new flying champion of the Sinnoh region. That was a wickedly fun run with a really cool variety of Pokemon, a few of which I've never gotten to use before, and honestly, flying types surprised me with their utility. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, as we're on the journey to 250,000, and I'll see you guys for our next challenge video.